Good one.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Saturday, October the 5th. Joe Ferrari, Brandon Graham, Rob Tassone, week 5 of NFL. Guys, I want to say it's been a strange year, but I feel like every year is a bit of a strange year. This has to be one of the first years where the survivor pools are, everybody. You're lucky to be standing at this point. And we talked about it. I was out in a week 1 with the Cincinnati thing, Brandon. We won't spend too much time on Cincy because they're a bit of a mess unless you want to.
No, I don't want to. I don't want anything
But
to do.
I guess speaking of positives for you, Aaron Rodgers has looked good the past few weeks. The Jets look to have, I guess, like a little bit of momentum. They're going to London on Sunday for the first 9:30 game in Europe of this season. Maybe we'll start off there. I guess we'll just talk about Rodgers. How do you guys feel the Jets have been so far? They escaped the Titans and go ahead.
I'll let Rob talk about this, but I don't know about the momentum. They lost 10-9. It was like a basketball game. I don't even know. That's a hockey score to the Broncos and at the Meadowlands. It was the miserable game. So he hasn't looked the best, but I think Bo Nix has looked decent.
Bo Nix, Rob, take it away.
Yeah.
That was a rough game last week. I don't think that was a very watchable product last week with it was raining though, so we don't know. But the week before the Jets did look pretty good, so uh, I'm not going to bet this game. I feel like if I was going to bet, I'd take the Jets. Minnesota is on a roll. At some point, that's going to slow down. I would take the Jets with Aaron having the experience playing over in London before, but after that performance last week, it's really tough to back the Jets right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been tough sledding even for the Bengals. I can't even watch them sometimes. Honestly, it's actually depressing. Their defense is so bad. Like I literally don't even watch defensive. Like it's so bad. But no,
I've
the
no
Jets.
deal.
I'm taking the Jets as well too. I think it's time. It's 9:30 in London. Garrett Wilson's already come out and said that Nathaniel Hackett doesn't mix it up enough as much as other teams. Has already criticizing them, so I think it's just time for them to feed the ball to Garrett Wilson and just get going. Stop throwing Allen Lazard.
Yeah, when I was saying momentum, I told you guys at my brother's wedding last week, so I didn't catch much NFL. But I mean, before that, like they went in and they beat the Pats at home. I mean, nothing special, but I mean, based on how the Pats have looked, obviously better than expectations this year. Big win there. They were lucky. Will Levis. I mean, I don't want to get into that because he's been an absolute disaster. Last year, I was pretty high on him. I thought he threw a good ball. He looked pretty decent. This year, it's almost like he's getting drugged before the games, and he's trying to like give the ball and shovel passes to the other team's hand when they're like on the 10-yard line. It's been a really rough watch. Mason Rudolph's done decent for them. But yeah, with the Jets, I agree, man. I just think that they needed some time to kind of gel. The quarterback wasn't there for a while, but I mean, I think that they're going to be a team that can, I mean, the Bills, everybody was kind of low on them in that division, and then the Bills have kind of stepped up, lost a tough one last week. But I mean, I think those teams are going to go down to the end of the wire to win that division.
Yeah. Yeah.
We want to talk about Devontae and what's happened with the Raiders. Brandon, you can start it off there. Bit of
Yeah, I
mess.
was just talking to my friend about this too, and he of course Devontae wanted to play with his Fresno State teammate in Derek Carr, right? And of course that got messed up, and seeing Derek Carr playing as well as he has the first few 3 weeks of the year, he probably feels even worse. But Devontae, even watching the series receiver, you can kind of see he was all about kind of himself, right? It's like, yeah, we're winning. I'm not really getting the ball too much, but it's about my greatness. And like, well, you went to a team that didn't really have a premier quarterback, even with Derek Carr at the time wasn't playing it's prolific, right? You left Aaron Rodgers, so him trying to leave and then posting this Edgar Allan Poe meme to his Instagram yesterday, I guess inciting that he was possibly going to the Ravens. That would be stupid too. Why go to the Ravens when their Russian attack is as good as it is? Um, yeah, I think it's he's just been lost in the carousel. Made a ton of money, but kind of lost in the carousel and wants to get back with the premier quarterback. And I hope that he does land with a premier quarterback because such a great receiver, and it's kind of his time's kind of slipping away. I think with age, right?
What a
Rob?
surprise. A diva wide receiver. This is
Yeah,
like
I
a
know we haven't
first in
seen
the
that before.
NFL.
yeah,
He
yeah.
signed there. I don't get it. You just signed there. Like you picked to go there. It's just so odd. Landing spots though, because he is going to get moved. It sounds like Antonio Pierce is like, this guy's not playing again with us.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about Buffalo? Like I feel like I heard Buffalo, the rumor out there.
But
Is there a
do they have
team
the
that could
cap
use him
space?
more?
Do they have the cap space? Because I don't know enough about that, but I know that they had like some kind of dead cap hit when they traded away Diggs, right? And they had like
Hmm.
that's why they have no space to get anybody. I don't know if they can make it work with the salary
Okay.
cap.
If that's a thing, yeah. The NFL salary cap's really hard to negotiate. Like that's why
Oh,
you
it's
don't
tough.
see it's one of the reasons you don't see too many trades.
Yeah, it's really, really tough to kind of like offload a bunch of guys. Like, I think it would be kind of productive or counterintuitive to bring a Devontae Adams in when letting go of Stephon Diggs because of money reasons. So it's almost like you're contradicting yourself, right? So I think that would be a great landing spot for him. I think that the Jets don't really care about much, and the Jets are still a dumpster fire. Obviously, they have Garrett Wilson over there. That's not going to be too ideal. But I've heard that the Cowboys are looking for him. But Jerry Jones came out and said we're not looking for Devontae Adams, and everyone's like, we don't care. So I don't know. Like the NFL is hilarious, and I don't know how they're going to get it done in the next few weeks, right? So
Would you guys like to see more trades in the NFL? That's the one thing I don't think I'd mind it.
yeah,
And like guys
Why
get
wouldn't
traded
I,
for
man?
nothing. Like these,
I
like
feel
it's
like
like
you just see defensive players for the most part get traded. You'll see like some
yeah,
linebackers go at the end and that kind of stuff. But with the playbook, I think it makes it so much harder to
that's
get
true.
guys in.
yeah, it'll be tough. It'll be tough, right? But I don't know, man. He can go somewhere and be serviceable. Don't go to Miami because that's up to fire without a quarterback. I'm looking at different teams right now. Which team he'll look good on? Houston, of course, has Stephon Diggs.
What
Uh,
about the Commanders?
the Commanders. I was just gonna say the Commanders could be a good.
Yeah,
Jaden could spin it.
yeah.
Uh, Terry McLaurin has never looked as happy ever, so that could be. But I don't think you want to play with a rookie quarterback. I think that he needs to be with an established, like in Arizona. Literally every team has premier. Green Bay. Green Bay can be a place. Go back to Green Bay and play with Jordan Love, but he's going to be frustrated there too because he might not get as much because there's so
Are
many.
the Giants a place with neighbors out?
I think he wants to play with the.
In a tough
Daniel
division,
Jones?
I don't
Yeah, there's
know.
no way. He has to go to a play. Like LA Rams would be nice. Well, yeah, Puka being out, Cooper Cup always being out. Being with Matt Stafford, I guess, would be something, but like, and he still gets to stay around like that West Coast. There really isn't, man. Go to New Orleans. New Orleans can be somewhere, they play well on the dome. There's literally not an ideal spot for this guy, really and
The thing
truly.
is, he's making so much money too, right? Like we talked about. I don't know enough about the cap, but to bring in a wide receiver like guaranteed top seven in salary, I don't know what team's going to be able to swing that, right? Like probably a bottom team that's not near the cap.
Team that's on the
If I
rookie
had to
that
guess,
has
right?
a rookie quarterback, right? Like
Exactly, right? You're kind
Washington.
of in the same spot. So, I mean, has
Yeah.
he played his way out? And this is something we see in sports all the time with the divas. It's like, they're fed up. They get paid. They force their way out of a situation like he pretty much did in Green Bay. Carr's there for a bit. Carr, had a little bit of success, not much. And then all of a sudden, Carr's gone and he's like looking around the Will Smith meme. And it's like, oh, it's just me now. Well, like you asked for this situation. You wanted to get paid. You made your bed, now lay in it. And
Yeah.
now you've pissed off your coach, you've pissed off your teammates, you're sulking like a child. And Devontae was never really that typical like diva guy. You never heard a word from him for the
No,
most part. He
no,
seemed
not.
like a kind of a quiet guy. And now, I mean, that's kind of flipped the switch now, right? So it's, I
And,
don't know,
and
you kind of
remember,
get,
a lot of his success comes from the fact that number 12 was throwing the ball, right? Like
yeah,
that's all of his success. Great, became really great. It wasn't great coming out. Like he was good coming out of Fresno State, but he wasn't great. So he
Yeah,
kind
he's
of
fine.
grinded for this,
I
but then
checked it. Yeah, I checked it. He was a second round pick because I had to go back
yeah,
and look. I thought he was like
yeah.
a fifth, but yeah, I mean, he was
No.
good, but he's still one of the best road runners, I think, in the league. So, I mean, he's probably going to
Okay.
get some success, but I don't know.
Hey, honestly, him in the Detroit Lions offense will be pretty good. But at the same
Detroit
time,
has so many guys
they
too.
have
But
so
yeah, it would, I mean, it would be.
yeah, they have so many
Um,
guys. So, anyways,
Let's talk about, I want to say, like the Panthers, right? Like we are talking about Bryce for a little bit, Brandon. And the last time we got together, we were saying, is it Bryce or is it, maybe just the team? We saw that it is Bryce,
yeah, of
right?
course.
Because Andy went in there and just had a field day. Last week, I took them and typical thing you get on a team that's hot and they don't cover, but they look like a totally different team with Dalton in there. What do you guys think about the Panthers going forward? And is the writing on the wall for Bryce Young, Rob?
He doesn't look like an NFL quarterback. I think I said this in the chat. He was standing next to Andy Dalton, who is not a big guy. Like Andy's probably one of the
Six
smaller
two.
quarterbacks. Yeah, like he looked like a child next to him. I don't know who. Like again, I said we all heard the rumors that the owner made the pick. They wanted
CJ,
they
Jordan
want
or
CJ
Jaden,
Stroud.
sorry.
They
they
want
wanted
CJ
Stroud,
Stroud. Yeah.
and they said, well, if the owner wants somebody, the owner gets somebody, right? So it's I don't see it. Like he's gonna have to be like exceptional in the film room, I think, to overcome his physical deficiencies because he doesn't look like it, guys. Like it's even Tua, like Tua's got some thickness to him, and he isn't over the most overly
Physical guy, physical specimen
right.
kind of guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So I don't know if that's gonna end well. And Andy Dalton's definitely not the long-term solution. This is
Oh, of
a
course, no.
this is the slap, was it slap tape? What's the tape over the You guys ever seen the
Oh yeah,
tape?
yeah, that commercial, that the
Yeah.
promo commercial where the guy that is talking a
Yeah.
mile
He
a minute.
slaps the
Yeah,
tape
yeah.
over the
He's a duct tape solution or whatever. Yeah,
duct
yeah,
tape
he's,
Yeah.
solution,
yeah,
whatever it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
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 It was even like Kyler. It's a great point you bring up, Rob. Kyler put on like mass. He's in the gym, right? Like
Yeah.
you can't
But
be
he's also a big
skinny.
time athlete, right? Like he's a
Yeah,
runner,
yeah. Like
Yes.
he,
Yeah.
and Bryce
right,
isn't.
right. But he's still 5'8", right? And then
Yeah,
these guys are probably both around the same kind of height, right?
Hmm.
You're skinny, you're small, plus you're not able to look over the. He's just not good. He's just not. He just won't.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield did say that this is not the end of his story because Baker's come back and he resurged himself, whatever it may be. All this
even
research.
Darnold did the same
Even
thing,
Darnold
right?
as well
Yeah.
too, right? Geno Smith resurged himself. Like, these guys have come back and done it. Great, you can do that, but he doesn't even look engaged. Like he doesn't even look like he's. You at least
Well,
would do something better, like compensate for yourself for your height in the gym, like get bigger, get faster. He doesn't do that. He sits back like a little kid. And I've been watching him since he's in high school, so he's been the same player since he was at Modern Day High School, winning the championship there to Alabama. Didn't win there, but should have won that time when Jameson Williams got injured. And then of course, right into this now. So I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. I don't think he's gonna last. It's really sad. I feel really bad, but they're putting up points now without him.
He doesn't even look accurate. Like that's the other thing too. Like he's not throwing the ball. Like I watched a couple of his games. He's a few yards off of
he's
some of
missing
these
open
throws.
guys.
Miss some
Like
guys.
yeah, like he's leading guys in the wrong way and
His
he's
confidence is
missing
shot.
he's
Yeah,
missing short throws though, and that you
Those are
can't
the
have that.
gimmies. Yeah.
yeah. He's his confidence is shot. He needs a change of scenery or figure
It's
something out because I
it's
don't
the
think
hardest it's the hardest position to draft for. That's the only thing I will say. And nobody knows until they're in the situation of how
yeah.
they're going to be.
Well, with that being said, I was listening to the podcast today. They said the 2021 quarterback list with Trevor Lawrence, Trey Lance, oh my God, who else is there? Justin Fields, Mac Jones, that
Zach Wilson there.
Zach Wilson too. Yeah, looking at all those guys, like oh my God, looking back at that everyone said that was going to be the quarterback central and everything like that. And Trevor
Yeah,
Lawrence,
man. And I remember I think that might have been the first year we did this NFL show. And I remember, Brandon, you were high on, and I mean, like, not to say anything, whatever, but like, you were really high on the guy that San Fran drafted that you just said I'm
Trey
drawing blanks
Lance.
Trey
on.
Lance, yeah, well, he
Yeah,
was
I
the
remember, Rob, you were there too. We were high on him because you're like, this guy has a lot of talent, whatever. I mean, physically, he has all the tools. And I mean, he didn't really it's not like we have tape like Bryce Young where it's like the guy played, 15 games or whatever. He hasn't had that, but I mean, they also haven't given him a chance. So maybe he's so bad that they're not even giving him a shot.
Name a position where you have to know what everybody in the field is doing, or in any sport. Like you have to know your team, you have to know the other team, you have to have
Your wide
corrections,
receiver routes, your
alignments,
point guard,
corners,
everything, right? You got to
coverages.
know their
Yeah.
defense, you've got to rearrange your coverage, like,
You can't be dumb playing quarterback.
and you've got to be you have to be a field general. It's such a cliche, but you are the leader of some big strong men, and I don't know, you just have to really command it. It's guys, there's a reason why there's no position that busts more than quarterback, and nobody knows. We can all say we do. I mean, this is a position where the Bears moved up to not draft Patrick Mahomes, and he's like maybe the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. So
yeah.
it's just such an inexact science with quarterbacks, especially.
Yeah, it's super hard. It's super hard. I played quarterback growing up, and I coach right now, and it's like we changed our quarterback from last year. I don't want to talk about my high school team, but it's like would you have a guy there that understands and able to
Yeah.
get out of trouble when everything collapses, the line collapses, like it just changes everything. You only do well if you have a good quarterback. Like it's just
Mhm.
That's the thing, man. It's like you look at it when you draft, you can't draft inside someone's brain, right? Like the
Yeah.
reads are totally different. You draft based on physical tools. Can you? And I always used to argue with my buddy Dan about this, and I went into this with details with you guys about Zach Wilson. I'm done with watching pro days. You're in a controlled environment. There's nobody rushing you. It's like, let's see how big your arm is. Great. Anthony Richardson, great. Zach Wilson, great. And I'm not writing off Richardson. That's another guy that can't hit a duck and can't throw the ball in the ocean, right? Like when he's running, he's incredible, but he's missing a lot of short throws.
Shane
And
Steichen want to kill him.
well, look what Flacco did when Flacco came in. They look like a different team. The
No,
ball's
but
moving.
Great long ball thrower though, Richardson. He can
oh
really
yeah,
throw the
great,
long ball.
great. Oh wow, that throw to Alec Pierce in the first week was
Yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible, right? Everybody's jaw drops.
yeah.
But I wanted to. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like he runs the ball quite a bit and he can't stay healthy. Like many of these quarterbacks that are running quarterbacks, or dual threat, whatever you want to say. But Shane Steichen, He got hit in the hip. He got out. Took two plays, came back in, and what did Shane Steichen call? Another QB keeper, and got him hit again, and then he was out. I'm like, what are you
Let's
doing,
roll the
Shane?
dice
Just
again.
roll the dice with your guy. Okay, whatever. So NFL is
Well,
hilarious.
well, that's the thing. Like Josh Allen, like I would listen to like what Bill Simmons podcast. They were saying like all these quarterbacks, like you named, and even the Washington quarterback, Jaden Daniels, there, like RG3. Like there's so many guys that come in. The guy on Arizona, I'm drawing a blank on again. The
Kyler
quarterback.
Murray. Kyler Murray.
All these guys, right? Like they have like you do this in college and it's great. You're the best athlete on the field almost all the times. The linebackers are probably 20 pounds lighter than they are in the NFL. And then all of a sudden you get there and it's like you have a taste of success, then you get nailed. And very few guys are built like Josh Allen or Dante Culpepper back in the day that can take these hits because they look like linebackers. Getting back to Bryson, we'll kind of wrap this up there. This is a big question I kind of have at quarterbacks because Rob brought up the fact that so many guys bust, which is so true. Are these guys thrown in the fire too quickly? If Jordan Love starts in his rookie year, if Zach Wilson sits a few years, is it different? I think that go ahead there and let me know what you guys think.
I'll just say, yeah, absolutely. I was even
Yeah,
listening
right.
today saying like Arch Manning sitting back. Like I went to go see Texas play, and I saw him play, and he's like he can start for any team in America, but he has Quinn Ewers in front of him, who's a Heisman contender, right? If you sit back, experience like an Aaron Rodgers, like many of these quarterbacks like that.
Mahomes did it.
Mahomes did it for a bit,
yeah, behind Alex Smith, right?
Alex Smith, yeah. Like you need to be able to develop and have your mind work prior to you getting in there. Bryce Young was thrown into the fire too early. CJ Stroud was thrown into the fire too early. He had his few games, but at the same time, he's had Slowik's really slowed it down for him. We had the intermediate routes and just a really good coordinator, right? And he's a smart, cerebral player. A lot of these guys need to sit back. Jordan Love is not getting that big contract without sitting back. And that's it. Like but Trey Lance,
Aaron Rodgers sat back, right? Like
yeah, but then you have the case where like Trey Lance sat back as well too, and then comes in and he's like terrible, and then Brock Purdy does it's such a hit and miss, but I think it benefits quarterbacks to sit back to experience under a veteran quarterback. Absolutely.
I think some guys it can, but a lot of these like look at Peyton Manning's first season. Like he threw a ton of picks, but he got great experience playing, right? Is he gonna you look at some of the great quarterbacks, Mahomes, I know he sat the first year. He could have started from game one. Like
he could have started too. Yeah,
he was fantastic. So I think the greats don't really need to. I bet you Aaron Rodgers would have succeeded even if he didn't sit. So, but some of these guys do, and some of them just are never going to get it. It's just, it's a different animal. Everybody can play, everybody can run, everybody can hit, everybody knows what they're doing in the NFL. It's the hardest position, guys. There's no, like people say goalie in hockey, it's not even close.
I was going to say it's probably the second one though. That's
people say cornerback DB say that's a really tough like playing these guys.
Tough, but like
but you can't even
compare it to quarterback. It's just it's easily the hardest position in sports to play. So
yeah, and even if you can throw a ball, you still
doesn't matter. It means nothing. Jamarcus Russell had maybe the best arm talent of all
That's
time.
what I was gonna say, right? Like the arm talent is one thing, but like I mean, how many guys remember even like Chad Penny? Like there's so many guys that can't throw the ball downfield that are just accurate guys that'll make a career because they can read a defense, make their reads, go through them, who's open, hit them, don't throw it to the other team, throw the ball away instead of getting sacked and getting injured. Like this is all things that a lot of guys just can't.
Tua,
they can't grasp.
You described Tua. That's Tua, right?
That's literally Tua.
Holding the ball too long, right? Like taking too many hits. The smart guys, like even Brady could never run, but he got rid of the ball when he had to.
Yeah.
And that's why he had such a long career.
Yeah,
right?
Nice clean pockets too, but Tom.
Super
Tom
clean pockets. Super clean.
Yeah.
You got it with the favorite. I would die in that hill. He had a great O lineman his entire life.
Yeah, and he cried the blues when he got hit once every 5 games. Right? He looked around 100%. Like, who blew their coverage?
I think Aaron Rodgers is a really big weirdo now, and I'm not the biggest fan of him anymore. But of his personality, but give him that O line and see what he does with that.
Yep.
Anyways,
we talked about that even with Mahomes. You can put the best quarterback potentially ever. Look what happened in that Super Bowl when he's running for his life. The next year they fixed the defense, they fixed the O line. The rest is history.
So that's so true.
Yeah. You guys want to get into picks then? I don't know who has the ready. Brand, you want to go first?
Do we have time for these?
No, I don't know. We have time, and nothing's been show up. Rob, you can go first.
You know what, guys? This was a tough week because I liked a lot of games, and it was hard to narrow it down to 5. Do you want to do Igor's picks? Because I loved.
Yeah, I'll throw Igor's
all
first.
5
I have
Igor's picks. Okay. I got to give him some credit, man.
So, and I don't know if we all like each other's picks. I don't know if it's going to be a good week because you like them too much. But first one, Igor has the Saints plus 5.5.
Listen, can I say something? He took that
Yep.
from a website that I looked at as well too, because I have the exact same one. So
You
I'm
guys had
gonna
the
say
same cheat sheet,
yeah,
eh?
same stuff. Yeah,
Great pick though. It's a
yeah,
great pick,
great pick.
Brandon. I love it.
So
Thank you.
against the Chiefs, right? Like the Chiefs typically as favorites don't really cover too well. Like
Mhm.
they win, but they don't cover 5.5. So that's his first pick. The Seahawks. The Seahawks is one that earlier in the week was 5.5. He has them at 7. Malik Neighbors goes down a point and a half. That looks too easy. That's why I'm scared. But that's his second pick. His third pick, of course, you love it, Rob. It's the Broncos. It's your guys, and they're at home. They're favored by 3, and it looks like they've kind of turned things around a little bit. They don't look
Mm.
great by any means, but they're favorite at home
Uh,
by 3. And I'm
yeah,
trying
I
to
like
find
it
you.
more of a fade against Oakland, but well, I'll get into that later.
And then
Or
they won
Las
last week
Vegas.
too, the Raiders, yeah. And then
Yeah,
his fourth pick is the Cards plus 7.5 against the
yeah.
Niners. It looks like it's
Good pick.
gone down to 7.
Good pick. Good
And
pick.
the Cardinals, who everybody was on last week, they get blown out at home to Washington. And then his last pick is the Panthers by 4 plus 4. And I like that too because I had them last week. They didn't cover. I thought they should have, but they're going to Chicago. And speaking of quarterbacks, Caleb has looked, I don't want to say terrible, but pretty damn close. He hasn't been good at all. Those are Igor's 5. I like them too.
They're nice picks. I'll
Yeah.
give you guys mine. I got 4 favorites, which I don't like. That's the one thing I don't like. Um, I had 3 other underdogs I really liked, but there was things that pushed me off them. I'm going to go with Washington -3 against Cleveland. Cleveland has massive O-line issues. They're not scoring. They haven't scored more than 20 points in 6 games, their last 6 games, and Washington's averaging 30 points a game this season. So it could be a massive public game by the public, which scares me. But I am going to take Washington. I'm going with Denver, but not for the reasons you guys think. Oakland has also like massive injury issues. Zaire White, starting running back, out. Brock Bowers, who might be the best tight end in football, out. Devontae Adams, obviously out. And both tackles, Colton Miller and the other tackle, both out. All elite, all really good talents. Oakland was really lucky to beat Cleveland last week. A fortunate holding call against the Browns, or they would have lost that game. So this is more of a fade against Oakland. I'm going with the Rams +3.5 against Green Bay. I think I'm getting the better team right here, and they're getting 3 points, 3.5 points at home. LA played Chicago last week, who's one of the best defenses in the league. I think it's going to help them this week, and the public is all over Green Bay. So whenever you get the public, that's
Fade. Fade. Yeah.
That's like great.
yeah, fade the public. I got Pittsburgh -2.5 against Dallas. No Micah Parsons, no Zach Martin for Dallas. The Pittsburgh D line is going to, I think they're going to control that game pretty well. And then my last pick for these ones was I took Jacksonville -2.5, possibly no Anthony Richardson for Indy. Jacksonville's 0-4. They're due for a win, and this is a division rival, so I expect a close game. Give me the home team -2.5.
Yeah, this is why, I listen to what Rob says. I'm like, I agree. I agree. Yeah, I'll go quick. I'll go quick as well too. I do like the Saints +5.5. Really do. With Rashee Rice out, uh, Patrick Mahomes has said that he hasn't really played as well too. Hollywood Brown being out as well too. So who are the receivers? Xavier Worthy. I'm drawing a blank another one like Sky Moore. Like who's going to step up as a receiver for him, right? And they
Kelsey?
usually do win. Sorry. Yeah, Kelsey.
Kelsey?
Yeah, he still
He's looked
hasn't.
terrible.
Him and Mark Andrews have looked at the worst. They look like they don't know
They
how to
can't move.
try to play
Sam
back.
Laporta too. I'll put Sam
Yeah.
Laporta.
Yeah. Sam
Oh,
Porter
really?
is not doing well. It's just Trey McBride and Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers is
Mhm.
on my fantasy team. I have to go check and see if he's out. He's actually playing, but it might change because Rob tells the future. So we'll see about that. So I'll go +5.5 with the Saints. I really do like the Rams. I really do like the Rams in this spot at home. By the way,
It's a must win for them.
yeah, no. Once again,
Yeah.
Jordan Love is still 0-2 as a starter. Malik Willis is 2-0. So with Jordan Love back and LA Rams with Tutu Atwell and Kyron Williams will run the ball very well, and I know the defense will definitely get after it at home. I'm going to take the Rams +3. I know, and just like what you said, the public are going to ride the Packers. I don't think they're going to win this game. I don't think this at all. So I think I'm going to go with the Rams there for sure. Corey, I'm looking through. The Broncos and Raiders game just looks ugly to me. Like it looks, and that game and the Miami Dolphins Patriots game is like I want to throw up. Like sorry, like I like both. Next, don't get me wrong, but like the Dolphins and Patriots game looks like the worst thing ever.
I like the under in that Denver Vegas game.
Yeah,
for sure.
that would be something. But I'm gonna go the Jets. I'm gonna go the Jets +2.5 in England. Wake up in the morning and watch that game. That'll be something. This year I'm trying to stay away from the Cincinnati Bengals. I just don't want to curse myself at all. So I'm gonna stay away from them for sure. I'm gonna go with I really do like this is a tough one. and I could be wrong, but I think the Buffalo Bills will win that game. I think plus one
That's
and a
a
half.
tough one.
It's a
Yep.
tough one, but I know Houston needs a bounce back. Bills need to bounce back as well too. But I really do think with the Stephon Diggs revenge game, I think they're gonna force the ball to him too much, even though Nico Collins and CJ Stroud are the best wide receiver tandem, wide receiver could be tandem in the league. I'm gonna go with the Buffalo Bills plus one and a half to win that game. I think that's four picks right now. So I'm gonna go last but not least. I will, yes, as Rob said, the Steelers D line are gonna kill the Cowboys, and it's gonna be Pittsburgh. I have some friends that'll be going. It's not gonna be the warmest days either. I'm gonna go with the Pittsburgh Steelers to win that game. I think it's two and a half, unless I already said that.
No, no. So you have Saints, Rams, Jets, Bills, Steelers.
There you go.
The only thing I'd say about the Cowboys, I was looking at that game and it's tough. The two teams I don't like taking as favorites, but as dogs are both KC and Pittsburgh. When TJ Watt plays, I think they win like 90% of their games. The only thing I'm about the Cowboys is, I mean, they were down big against Baltimore and they made it a game at the end when Dak just kind of aired it out. So I'm not sure. I mean, that's a tough one there. I might even lean towards Dallas just to cover and then maybe win by just one or two.
Mhm.
Rob, I missed. I know that you went on, but I missed a few of your picks. You have Denver, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville. I have. Who are the other two?
Washington and the Rams.
I went against most of you guys. I have Cleveland plus three. I don't know why, and I mean, obviously the quarterback there, I'm not a big fan of ever since the scandal. He hasn't been the same guy, but I just think their
Deshaun
defense
Watson.
is kind of going to muck it up. Because Myles Garrett, I think he's probably the best defensive player in football. I have the Jets plus 2.5. Anytime there's an undefeated team that's still a favorite and such a slight favorite, I'm going to go Jets there. I think after last week's embarrassment, they win a game. Brandon, I'm taking your guys Cincinnati. The line's a little bit fishy to me. It's a division game. They're at home. Even if they do lose, maybe it's a 7-6 game that kind of plays off of that if they lose by one or two. I'm taking the Giants because, again, it doesn't make any sense. Seattle last week, I thought they were going to have a better showing in Detroit. They didn't. This is a home game for them. I think they're just going to escape with an ugly win there. And then lastly, Kansas City, a team I don't like taking as a favorite. They ended up when they played Atlanta. Did they cover? I know that there was a long. It was a
No, I
Sunday
don't think
night. They
so.
didn't.
They covered.
I
No.
think I
Oh,
think Atlanta
okay.
backdoored them though.
Even better. I think they did backdoor them, and Atlanta had another great win on Thursday, which we can talk about. But I have Kansas City. They're covering the 5.5. Again, I think everybody just seen that the wide receiver went down with Mahomes taking out his own guy there. I think that the defense might just show up and just win that game, shutting down the Saints. Saints outside of a dome for whatever that's worth. And those are my picks there. So I got Cleveland, Jets, Cincy, Giants, KC. Igor has Saints, Seahawks, Broncos, Cardinals, Panthers. Rob has Washington, LA, Rams, Denver, Pittsburgh, and Jacksonville. And then Brandon, you got Saints, Rams, Jets, Bills, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think I agree with a lot of the things you said, Joe, but the Seahawks actually play well, man. I think they play well against
They
Detroit.
do.
Yeah.
They're a good team.
Yeah.
I mean, new
I
coach, everything. They're a good team. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
They,
think
they're
that was a
good.
letdown. I
Yeah.
think that was a letdown
That,
spot in Detroit. I think this is their bounce back. I think this is. I think
Oh,
that's why I like
they're
that
gonna
pick.
kill. And remember, there's no
Yeah,
many neighbors with the Giants, right?
yeah. That
Line
that's
up.
what
defense
I'm
is
saying.
for
It was
real
five
though.
and a half. It went to seven when he was ruled out. I just think that everybody, 68% on the score app here are taking Seattle. So I mean, like I said, I don't. It's one of those games where it's like I don't really have a reason. Like logic shows you, like Seattle should win by more than seven. I just think it's football. Something's gonna happen. Maybe you get a block punt, miss field goal, some dumb thing like that, and they end up just covering.
I
Yeah.
had a couple of dogs that I really liked. I liked Carolina this week against Chicago. I just they have too many injuries, Carolina, or else I would have taken that would have been a really nice spot for them.
Yeah.
And Miami, I think Miami wins this. You know,
I was looking
Miami's
at that,
0
man.
they're
Yeah.
0-8 against the spread their last 8 games though.
Oh
And
wow.
New England's New England's got beat up pretty good by San Fran last week.
Yeah. So
But
A
you
lot
look
of
at New
people
England, right?
betting.
Like they beat Cincy on the road for whatever that's worth. Like they've been pretty good during the season. Their offense obviously is not. But yeah, I mean, like this is if Miami doesn't win this game, then I'm not sure. I mean, they probably should get one, but who knows? I mean, maybe they end up being a 2, 3, or 4 win team, right? Like there's probably not a chance they make the playoffs anymore. But this is definitely a must win.
if they lose, is Mike McDaniel in the hot seat?
I don't know, man. Like, what do you do? Is it his fault? Like, even Huntley, like Huntley made a Pro Bowl. I don't, you know what I mean? It's just that's why the NFL is so strange. He was in Baltimore's offense for that 1 year, like 2 years ago.
No,
They
he
didn't
made
miss
it
a beat.
because yeah, but he made it because Lamar got injured. That's the
But
only
I
reason.
don't. But he
He didn't
won
make
a
it.
good percentage of his games, and he made
Yeah, yeah,
the.
yeah. But
I
they
Is
mean,
still
Tua back? Tua might be back.
they said 8 or 9. Week 8 or 9 is when he
Oh,
could come off.
okay. I
Yeah.
was reading that he could be back soon.
Well, yeah. I guess that's maybe in like 3 weeks.
I don't
Right?
even
Yeah,
see him
week
on the
five.
injury. I don't see him on the injury report.
yeah,
So
the one
I
to
was like,
die. Oh, really? Eh?
I
You
didn't
want him
see
to
him
die,
on there.
you throw
Igor
him.
had a public service announcement. He did his own podcast saying he needed to retire. I remember that.
Yeah.
That
And he's
Baltimore
not right.
Cincy
He's not
game,
wrong. Yeah.
like I wanted to take Baltimore, but all the pros are on Cincy. So when all the pros
Really?
are on one side and,
That's
and
there you go. Yeah.
all the public's on Baltimore, that scared me away pretty good, pretty quickly.
That game scares me, man. Like really interesting because they run so well, the Baltimore Ravens. But since but they're behind the eight ball now, they have to figure it out. So yeah, it could be one of those games where it's a really tight one, and who knows?
Another one, right? Like this is another
It's a
one where you
division
look at
game.
it the next day and you're saying like, oh, like since he looked so bad at home against two teams they should have been the Pats and I forget who they
Mm,
lose to last week, Washington, right? The Monday nighter 2 weeks
I
ago.
Washington, yeah, that
Yeah,
was
right. Like
Peyton
they
Manning's
were,
final party. Yeah,
and then they come home. I mean, like they almost beat Kansas City at Arrowhead. And then this week here, everybody's probably written them off again. And like I said, division game, it's, if they want to win this division, they're going to need at least split the home and home with Baltimore, right?
at
It's
least,
a
yeah.
game they have to win, right?
and
It's a
Baltimore's off like a huge win, like humbled Buffalo last week. Like the spread just doesn't make any
First
sense.
win for them, right? Last week?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
could be the trap. This is the trap game, I
Right.
think.
And then
This
maybe
Happy for 'em.
Pittsburgh loses, and then all of a sudden the division's kind of back in. Cleveland wins a game, right? That's how this division always is.
Yeah, I get
I,
that. Like I love everything you're saying, but then I'll be in tears tomorrow. So
But they're like a bad relationship, right? It's like you have your
yeah.
good days, then the bad they suck
yeah,
you in with the bad ones. You're like, what am I doing here?
exactly.
Last thoughts
I'm
before we wrap
surprised.
it up here.
Honestly, I think Arizona, man. I think Arizona could have a showing against San Fran. Like San Fran, once again, there are some guys like McCaffrey's gonna be out again. Arizona is a sneaky, where they understand the team, where they understand them. Arizona could surprise a lot of people tomorrow.
And Marvin Harrison, I mean, week one against the Bills, I mean, they didn't throw him the ball really, but he's looked every bit of the stud that he is in every game since.
Yep. Yep. I made a big
There's
bet
such
that sorry, I made a big bet. I'm saying that Marvin Harrison will have a better season than Malik Neighbors. I'm kind of regretting it now, but I do feel like he's gonna get
I don't know. I don't
start to.
know.
Well, I
I
don't
think
know, man. Like,
that's a pretty good bet, I'd say right now.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, for
especially
sure.
with the
Neighbors
concussion,
is
right? Like, and the quarterbacking situation for both teams. But I mean, the good thing, Neighbor is another LSU wideout, right? Like, I mean, he's looked incredible, and then Odunze with Chicago. I know he's Washington, but it's been a good wide receiver draft, I'd say.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
So anti Kyler Murray. I hate
I
everything.
remember, yeah, Rob, you didn't like that.
I just don't like that. It's like it's in your contract that you have to watch tape. It just tells me all I need to know about
Yeah,
somebody.
no, yeah. He just obviously
It's,
doesn't love the game. It's one of those things like in
yeah.
basketball. You see some of the guys are just so big, it's like you're so good at it, they don't have a passion for the game, but I'm here to make money, right?
Did you
I
guys
think
see
that
Did you guys see the Tom Brady comments with Baker Mayfield? And
Yeah. What did you think about that?
I loved it. I loved it. And Tom, you could tell he was scorned by that, and
But I think from week one, once they told Tom he would once they said that he wasn't that good in his debut, I think he's kind of like lit an ass under his fire and he's trying to go after everybody now.
well, no, but it was Baker that said, "Hey, like it was too intense around here with him." So he kind of put the first shot out there.
He won
So
well, that's stupid as a guy that's never won to say that by to a guy that's won 7 times.
yeah,
They won a Super Bowl. Like Michael Jordan, they'll be the same way. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
a great guy that is going to demand so much from a team because you
Mhm.
can't say that Baker. I respect everything Baker's done, but like that just shows me you're like
Yeah.
Carmelo. You're never going to
It
win.
was a silly.
I know we
silly
don't have
comment.
much time left. I just want to throw this out there and maybe we'll leave it for speculation. Did you guys see the Cam Newton and Shadur Sanders clip?
I did. I did.
I don't know, Brandon, you have the clock. Take it away and then end it. Let me know what you think. Now I know all I need to know about why Cam was not on the roster anymore, that clip, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's all he does, right? On those podcasts is just say, "Oh, well, that he's doing well, but I did this." I'm sorry, Cam, but you never won a championship, right? Like just on his fourth and one podcast, he's just always bigging
Ripping
up
it.
some guys and be like, "Well, they're just not good as me. Like I was a problem." Like everyone knows you were good back then at Auburn, back then with the Carolina Panthers, but unfortunately, you didn't jump on that ball against Denver, and that's why Rob's happy and you're not.
And it's last thing, I mean, I hate to do it, but like it's not too often you'll see a black quarterback going after another black
And
quarterback,
then that's
right?
another
You don't
thing.
that I didn't think that was a good look,
It was
especially
a terrible look.
Dion's kid. I didn't like that. I was like, dude, I think you crossed the line there. Like, let
He
him have his
definitely
time.
and talking about college guys too, 'cause he's talking about Travis and he talked about Shadur.
And
And I don't
Travis
know
might be the
Sherman's
first pick.
comments either about Travis Hunter. But that's something I don't like when the OGs or the guys that they look up to that are gonna heed advice, whatever, bring down the kids that
Are
are
shooting down on the
and they're
kids.
probably mad at them
It's
too because they're making a ton of money. Shadur makes the most money out of any college player right now.
NIL money.
And ML most, so he's probably just hating, but to do that to a kid is really I find it very whack.
Yeah, and I'm happy Shador stood up to him. Guys, we're running out of time. We're going to end it here. Good luck, everybody, on your week 5 picks. And for Rob, Brandon, Joe, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you.
Fair man.